The Watership Down podcast is intended for listeners who are familiar with the plot. There will be spoilers. This episode is scripted, narrated, recorded and edited by Newell Fisher. Hello, and welcome to the Watership Down podcast episode 187, in which we'll be looking at the fifth and last 10-minute segment of the third episode of the 2018 Netflix version of Watership Down. There is no burrow keeping this week, so let's get straight into the action. Netflix miniseries Episode 3 Part 5 The Thunder Breaks. Part 5 of Episode 3, The Escape, runs from 40 minutes 05 to 50 minutes 05, and the reverse timings are 10 minutes exactly to the end. The equivalent chapter from the book is Chapter 38, The Thunder Breaks. We are back on the bank of the River Test as the 5 rabbits from Watership Down who ventured into Overton after Fiver's vision return to Hazel, who is still lying out in the open, looking dejected and exhausted. Blackberry tells Hazel they need to leave, but Hazel insists Clover will find a way to get out. Blackberry points out they don't even know if Clover and Bigwig are still alive, and even if they do get out, they have no way to escape the Ephrathans. Well, maybe if he'd spent more time looking along the river and less watching Fiver dodge traffic, they might have solved that last one by now. Hazel says they can't leave, and asks Fiver to back him up, but instead he backs up Blackberry. They cannot stay here any longer, in this riverside environment in the heat of summer. Plus there are storms on the way. The others have left them alone to talk. Hazel says Clover didn't give up on him. He cannot give up on her. Fiver says he knows Hazel walked all this way to save her with his injured leg, and that he would wait here forever for her. If Hazel insists they stay, then they stay. But they have given their all. As Fiver helps him up, Hazel says they will go back under the Iron Road and then south to avoid Ephrathah. This makes no sense, as the Iron Road lies to their north. Logically, he means to the west, which will take them away from Ephrathah before they head back north to Watership Down. Sadly, Hazel and Fiver move off. To be absolutely clear, this means that Hazel has given up. There will be no does from Ephrathah. They are going home empty-handed and without Bigwig or Clover. Back at Ephrathah, events are moving to their climax. From above we see one rabbit leading 7 others to the space beneath an electricity pylon, or an iron tree as rabbits call them. This is to be Heisenthlay's execution. The lead rabbit is Captain Orchis. As Sergeant Sainfoy knocks Heisentlay to the ground, Orchis comments to Bigwig that he wants to earn Orchis's trust. Now he gets his chance. He will kill Heisentlay. Faintly, in the background, we can hear singing. Sadly, Heisentlay looks up at Bigwig. Bigwig can barely conceal his confusion at what on earth he will do now. Meanwhile, in the deep burrows, Thethuthenang has started to sing. Her song is 10,000 Enemies, and for this, Rosie Day's voice is replaced by singer Emily Sandé. It is a beautiful song. Out of the despair of the loss of Heisentlay comes this spontaneous outburst of revolution, as the does of Ephrathah begin to assert themselves. And, although it seems a bit contrived, this sequence is still a powerful one in which the does begin once and for all, as a group, to cease being passive receivers of oppression. Even though all seems lost, they are not just going to stay quietly in the deep burrows, even if it means more deaths. An Owslegard orders Thethuthenang to stop singing. She responds by standing up and continuing, and her singing continues throughout the following sequence. Above ground, Orchis casually scratches himself as he asks Heisentlay if she has any last requests. He seems amused. Heisentlay thinks fast. She says she would like to speak with Nettle. In terms of the story told by this version of Watership Down, this is a brilliant move. The camera tracks through the empty runs of Ephrathah until Woundwort lands angrily in one, demanding the guard find out where the singing is coming from and puts an end to it. Nettle is brought to Heisentlay, who knows she is a spy for Woundwort. But Heisentlay also knows that the Owsler don't know she knows. The guard is happy to leave them to speak in private, as this better ensures they get information from Nettle. What Heisenkley does now is a very intelligent tactic that is her best chance of survival, for at this point that is all she can hope for. Ostensibly because she cares for Nettle, she tells her to go to the west side of the warren where everyone is breaking free. As far as Nettle is concerned, the leader of the does is using her final moments to help her get free of Ephrafa. This makes Nettle even more irredeemable as a character. Orchis tells Slaley to deal with Heisenkley quickly, and tells Sainfoin to kill him too if he hesitates. He then leaves with Nettle and all of the Owsla bar Sainfoin and one other guard. As they leave, Nettle tells Sainfoin what Heisenkley told her. Orchis rapidly finds Woundwort underground and informs him of the mass escape. He is rounding up as many Owsla as he can. Above ground, Bigwig gently pushes Heisenkley's head to the ground with his paw resting on it as he seemingly prepares to kill her. She tells Bigwig it's fine and to tell Holly she will be with him when he closes his eyes. Bigwig hesitates. Sainfoin urges him to get on with it with a move of his head. In the deep burrow, the does gradually rise and advance on the guard as he orders the singing to stop. He is realising he is outnumbered. As they advance on him, Thethuthanang's singing is replaced by a chant of "We shall be free." This rises to a crescendo as they back the guard up to the entrance. As the chant and Thethuthanang's song end, Clover simply states, "We shall be free." Back above ground, Bigwig is talking to Heisenkley, who is no longer on the ground. He has decided to drop the ridiculous act of being a storyteller, telling her to look at his scars. He has also realised that there are now only 2 Owsla with them. Sainfoin rushes up and asks what on earth he thinks he is doing, then cuffs him across the face. Bigwig points out that he has done that repeatedly to him over the last 2 days, and it has been incredibly frustrating. He emphasises this frustration as he speaks by cuffing Sainfoin, then kicking him into one of the concrete supports for the iron tree they are under, then cuffing him several times. Finally, he bites him by the scruff and throws him sliding along the ground, laughing at how much he has longed for this. Sainfoin and the other guard look at Slaley fearfully and run off. Bigwig laughs, then asks Heisenkley if she has any fight left in her. And now they are running through the tunnels of Ephrafa, which are empty. Heisenkley says the Owsla have taken the bait. They come to the 2 Owsla guarding Blackavar, who challenge them. Bigwig tells them he will only kill the first one he catches. They run away. Blackavar says he must be the one they call Slaley, to which Bigwig replies he can call him Bigwig. In the book, Slaley is just his name in Lapine, though it is a convention that he is only named as Slaley in Ephrafa. So in this version, it has been made an actual different name. Was this due to a lack of understanding by the writer? Bigwig asks Blackavar if he can fight. He says he has claws and teeth. Bigwig says he likes him already. In the deep burrow, it seems the guard, who is back up on the raised entrance, has succeeded in intimidating the does. He says he is going to see to it that they are all punished. But he doesn't get to say anything more as he is viciously attacked from behind. We only hear the violence as the does cower. The guard's unconscious body flops over the entrance and Bigwig appears, asking the does if they fancy coming out for a stroll. I guess you might call this a bit of British understatement. Outside it is raining hard and night has fallen. Woundwort and his massed Owsla are running to the west. They stop, and Woundwort looks ahead, seeing if he could spot the escape in the light of the lightning strikes. He cannot. Woundwort orders the Owsla back to their marks. He says they have been tricked. Bigwig and his escape party emerge from the chimney entrance and begin running to the south. Nettle, cowering nearby, calls Heisenkley pitifully and says she was told they would hurt the does if she didn't help. She says she never gave any names and repeats how sorry she is. Heisenkley looks at her in contempt and carries on running. She should kill her, but there probably isn't time. The rabbits of Watership Down are approaching Keyhar Bridge from the south. Suddenly, in the lightning, they see the large silhouette of a rabbit against the brickwork of the central of the 3 arches. Ignoring the fact that such a huge silhouette would require a close-up light source as opposed to lightning, they hesitate in fear. The rabbit emerges. After a few moments, Hazel recognises Bigwig, and then Clover appears. Her and Hazel have a brief, joyful reunion before Bigwig gets to the matter in hand as they move north under the bridge. He begins briefing Hazel by saying the Ephraphans are fast and big. They know how to cover ground. His point is immediately demonstrated for him. Their way is blocked by a large group of Ephrathans, including Woundwort. They are highlighted by lightning. Another group of Ephrathans block their way from behind. We saw earlier that there are 3 arches under this version of the bridge, so they could get there quickly without crossing the iron road. The music becomes discordant and menacing. Woundwort moves forward through his Owsla. He tells Slaley they meet at last. He knows a fighter when he sees one, and he is going to take great pleasure in killing him. We see the entire scene from above, again highlighted by lightning. And episode 3 ends. Comparison with the book. In its own strange way, this section of episode 3 is one of the few that relate to only one chapter of the book. Except that the only reason the rabbits of Watership Down are approaching Keyhar Bridge is because they have given up and are going home the way they came. Meanwhile, Bigwig is distracted not by the arrest of Nell Filter, but by the consequences of the treachery of her replacement, Nettle. Here it is the about-to-be-executed Heisensley who thinks on her feet, using Nettle as a way to create an opportunity initially to avoid her own death by getting rid of Owsla from the execution site, ironically located under an iron tree, an iconic sight from the Watership Down landscape. Bigwig then has a chance to put a quick escape together, as he has to in the book. Here, though, he is assisted by the apparent cowardice of some Ephrath and Owsla. Have they become a little soft from what appears to be just guarding docile does? Beside Blackavar, we do not seem to have met any buck rabbits in Ephrath who are not in the Owsla. So then, how do the Ephrathans, having realised they have gone in the wrong direction, manage to follow the escaped does so quickly? Well, only Nettle saw the actual direction they went in. Were her parting sorries to Heisensley genuine? Or, as I suggested, should Heisensley have killed her on the spot? Of course, there is now an important part of the chapter The Thunder Breaks to go, as the episode ends on a cliffhanger, with Woundwort swearing to kill Slaley on their very first meeting. All seems lost for does and Watership Down rabbits alike. Next time, we begin the 4th and final episode of the 2018 Netflix miniseries, The Siege, with a bit of a cliffhanger.